Before we get started, I want to talk about what are the sources of traffic that most publishers on our platform see. And this, we've checked with a lot of publishers across media, across languages, across geographies. It's more or less in the space. Of course, at the bottom on the x-axis, I've given you a range. None of this is absolutely right. So not direct traffic is not always 20%, right? It could range between 10 to 30, 40% sometimes. It depends on how big your brand is. If you are one of the biggest publishers in that region, for example, if you're an Indian Express or an NDTV in India, very likely that you'll be getting a lot of direct traffic, a lot of traffic coming directly on your site for IPL scores, for election results, budget, any of that, right? Or just latest news. These are loyal audience that's coming back to your platform regularly for news. But if you're a small publisher, if you are maybe just focused on one niche and you're trying to look at as much coverage as possible, it's very likely that you're getting traffic from side doors. You're not getting traffic from your homepage. You're getting traffic from search, maybe social channels. We see a lot of small publishers and startup publishers mainly getting a lot of traffic from social. Particularly regional publishers get significant amount of traffic from social. And when I say social, primarily Facebook. Facebook seems to be giving the lion's share of the referral from social networks onto publishers' site. Search continues to be one of the biggest sources of referral traffic to publishers. In case of any organic search, optimizing your keywords, all of that seems to be still working. And we see anywhere between 5 to 40% of your traffic coming from search. That's what we've seen across our publishers. I've categorized others as everything else, which looks at other referral traffic, aggregator traffic, Apple News, Google News, Smart News, things around push notifications that could probably come through, all of them categorized together as others. And this also varies in that range, right? So, but primarily what we also wanted to focus on is Google Discover. Over the last 1 year, we've seen Google Discover as an increasing source of traffic across our publishers. It used to be less than 2% last year. It started growing significantly, particularly in India and Southeast Asia, where there's a prevalence of Android phones. Google Discover seems to be having a lot of impact in sending traffic to publishers. We're seeing some of publishers who have optimized their traffic seem to be getting upwards of 15-20% from Google Discover. And with Google Discover supporting new formats like the visual stories, the latest AMP visual stories, if you continuously use Google Discover, you'll see a lot of content coming through visual stories, which are very engaging, right? And appealing to the millennials, appealing to the younger generation. That is something that we're seeing a lot of engagement on. Also, Izuto has a previous webinar with John Shehata from Condé Nast. It's a fantastic webinar on how you can optimize content for Google Discover. If you haven't watched it, I would highly recommend taking a look at it. It talks about what Condé Nast as a group has done and figure out various tricks to try and optimize your content for Google Discover. None of this is documented. Google just says it's completely based on the user's preferences, on their search, on their location, on the type of content they look at. But there are certain things around image sizes, all of that, that you should be able to do in terms of Google Discover to start getting some traffic there.
Just holding you on there for a second. So you mentioned Google Discover being a key contributor of traffic for publishers now, right? How do you look at Google News as a traffic source, especially for publishers in the news and media space? Do you think that's also, have you seen also a lot of traffic coming in from that specific channel as well?
We have seen a growing share from Google News as well. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head right now, but that's something we can get with. Basically, Google News is something that definitely sends traffic. We've seen Geo News sending a lot of traffic to regional publishers. This is something that's an upcoming platform that has started sending a lot of traffic, particularly to regional language publishers. They're getting a lot of traffic from Geo News, Daily Hunt, all of that has been in the Indian eco space. I don't know, particularly in terms of Southeast Asia, but news aggregators wise, Google News, Geo News, Daily Hunt, these are probably the three largest share of news aggregators in India.